They don't see it coming because there's a quote, don't ask, what is it? Don't ask a monster about his past, because once he starts telling you, you'll fall in love with him, something like that. But it's like, I think a lot of times people who do have ulterior motives that are not, they're not for the good of whoever they're luring in, they know that if they have a good sob story, and maybe they do have one, maybe it's usually highly legitimate that they do, because most of the people with these traits have shitty backgrounds, That's why they don't trust people. That's why they're trying to trick people, because they actually don't feel lovable. They actually don't believe anybody would love them for themselves. They don't believe anybody would stay with them if they knew who they really were. That's the whole point of the act. The act is to snag somebody or reel them in and keep them with this false front, right? Because they truly don't believe if anybody really knew them, they would stay with them. They think they would get bored and leave, or they would not be impressed if they were them true selves. But ultimately, that's usually because they don't feel that way organically about themselves. And if they were, anybody who's been severely abused or neglected or sexually assaulted, I'm sorry, you're going to have low self-worth, and you're going to have a lack of self-confidence. Whether you had that before or not is the problem. Is most of these things happen in childhood when you're developing as a person. So it's like, how are you supposed to come up with self-esteem when you've been if your parents been degrading and demeaning you for your whole life and telling you you're a piece of shit, and you've watched your mom or siblings being beaten or psychologically destroyed by this same person. It's how are you supposed to be oh, I have a great sense of self? That is, it's not really possible. That's why you have to then choose to develop that in yourself, a lifelong project. I find myself that I